Good morning, everyone. I hope that you're having a great day. Today we are going to be reading a poem. You can find this poem on page 9 of your textbook. The title of the poem is My Shadow. Okay, and based solely on the title, you can probably figure out what it's going to be about. If you guessed My Shadow, you are correct. The storyline of the poem is about a little boy and him going places with his shadow, okay? Now, while we're reading, I want you to pay attention to some vocabulary words. I'm going to quickly go over them with you. The phrase shoots up, whenever you describe someone, for instance, sometimes he shoots up taller, like an Indian rubber ball. The phrase shoots up means to grow really tall, okay? It means to grow quickly. You're growing taller very quickly, okay? The next word is notion, Notion. Notion means an idea. So if you have no notion of what's happening in class, it means you have absolutely no idea what's going on, okay? The next word is a coward. Now, none of you can be described as a coward, but a coward is a person who is very afraid or they're not very brave when faced with something scary, okay? The next word is dew, D-E-W. And this is the drops of water that form on the ground. So if you ever walk outside and you see the grass early in the morning, you'll sometimes see that it's covered in what looks like little drops of water. That's called dew, okay? The next word is buttercup. A buttercup is just a small type of flower, okay? And finally, the last word is errant. Now, errant is not used in English very much, but it means to be very bad or naughty, okay? Keeping those words in mind, we are going to begin reading our story. If you stay till the end, I will describe to you how to fill out your homework for today, how to answer the questions, all right? Without further ado, we are on page 9 of your textbook. My shadow. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me from the heels up to the head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into bed. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow. Not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. For he sometimes shoots up taller like an India rubber ball, and he sometimes goes so little that there's none of him at all. He hasn't got a notion of how children ought to play, and can only make a fool of me in every sort of way. He stays so close behind me, he's a coward, you can see. I'd think shame to stick to Nursey as that shadow sticks to me. One morning, very early, before the sun was up, I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. But my lazy little shadow, like an errant sleepyhead, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed. All right? Now, if you're wondering what that means, at the beginning of the poem, we can see that the little boy is describing where the shadow goes with him. And as you know, because we all have shadows, our shadows go everywhere with us, okay? Even when we can't, we see them when the sun is at certain parts of in the sky. Sorry. So when the sun is at anywhere but right above us, we are able to see our shadow, okay? Sometimes our shadow gets really tall, and sometimes it's really small, like around noon or 12 o'clock. We can't see our shadow at all because the sun is directly above us. Okay, so that's what he's talking about in the middle of the poem. Towards the end of the poem, he's saying, there's a line that says, "I'd think shame to stick to Nursey as that shadow sticks to me." That's basically just the boy saying that the shadow goes everywhere with him. But early in the morning, the little boy is not able to see his shadow. Probably because the sun's not out. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you what you're doing. Remember that we do our comprehension work. So anytime we read a story or a poem in our textbook, we do this in our classwork notebook. So you will be drawing a person, okay? Now, you don't have to put the face or anything because it's supposed to represent a shadow. You can if you want. You can decorate this however you want, but do your best and make sure I can still read what you write here, okay? So at the top, we write the title of our poem or our story, and we're going to write my shadow, okay? And we're going to draw our shadow, okay? Number 1, the question that I want you to answer is, where does the shadow go with the little boy, okay? Think about it. Where does your shadow go with you, okay? The next question is going to be, what does the shadow do when the poet goes to play? Now, there is a specific line in the poem that says what the shadow does, all right? Does he stay at home? Or whenever the little boy goes out to play, does the shadow go with him? All right, that's what you're answering in number 2. So we got where, what. Number 3, why does the shadow stay so close to the poet? You have to think about that. Why does the shadow stay close to the poet? Okay, does your shadow suddenly just like get up and walk away? No. Think about why, okay? And then finally, who? Who is the narrator of the story talking about? So who is the little boy describing? That's an easy one, okay? So we have the 4 questions in any order: who, what, where, and why. All right? If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Note that these instructions for your classwork are also on Google Classroom. All right? For your classwork are also in Google Classroom, sorry. Have a great day.